Today we're looking at the AirPods Max. It is I, Felix. Hello. So I'm not going to waste your time with an unboxing of these AirPods Max because you might as well watch paint dry. So suffice it to say, in the box you get the AirPods Max themselves, you'd hope you would, the sleeve and a lightning to USB-C charging cable. This video is going to be focused on my now weeks usage of these. This is my review, my thoughts on them in a sonically speaking manner. What are they and how do they feel? They are heavy-ish compared with most consumer-grade headphones. They have a steel and aluminium construction. They are very minimalist. They have magnets. How do they work? Very nice magnets. And they are a quality piece of kit. So how do these fit? With an excellent passive seal. The adjustability is very precise. And once those piston friction loaded stems are in place, they stay there, even when you fold the headphones. The pressure, initially there was, when I first put them on, I felt a little bit of pressure around my ears and almost like a suction-y feel. But when you press these, you can feel it venting, which is very nice. The weight is on the sides of the head, not really on the crown, which is excellent. And there's a lot of space inside the circumaural ear cups that I feel give it a kind of light, airy feel. This is how they fit without a hat on. They fit really well. I could go for a walk with them. If I'm walking around and in a rather stompy mood, then you might feel a slight movement of the feet on the ground. I wouldn't go running with them. That's not what they're designed for. Tell you one thing I'm not so keen on is the way these wear around your neck. There's no real way of turning them around this way. You can do, then you feel like you've got them sort of stuck up. It's all right, you can just about do it. These headphones are $5.50 and you can get these headphones or equivalents for $2.50. So we've got £300 to spend if we just eliminate the headphone component. And I'm going to say that you're spending £200 extra on the design components of this, the stainless steel, the aluminium cups, the magnetic replaceable ear cups and the cushion, memory foam cushion, plus the very precisely milled metal interior here, and the digital crown, the way that interaction with the headphones for changing volume and moving between tracks, plus the super over-engineering of the ear cups with a ball joint that pivots and is spring-loaded inwards. One of the standout features is this mesh fabric on the top. If you notice, the mesh fabric has been obviously deliberately integrated where the bottom section is almost like a hammock and the top section is higher up. That gives it an area where whatever's pressing into that has quite a long way to go before it rests on the actual stainless steel arms here. And that is what gives it the ability to be effectively suspended on your head before it even touches anything solid. The fabric on this, what's nice about it is that it's not a leatherette, it's not leather, it's in between. It's a fabric that makes it feel like wearing a shirt or something like that. It's much more natural. £200 on the design. Where's the other £100? Well, it may sound like a lot to spend, but the £100 is going on the Apple ecosystem bonuses. Yeah, they're not essentials, but they are bonuses and they do exist. The standout features are auto switching between devices. You listen to something on your iPhone and then you go and listen to something on your iPad because that's how you roll in 2020. And it just switches without you having to even select it. Next, messages read out to you from Siri. and the option to reply back to them. And last but not least, it's a feature that I would almost call in its beta stage, but it's still good. And that's spatial audio, working with iPhones and iPads only currently. And spatial audio effectively splits out a 5.1 or 7.1 surround sound signal from a video only, and it positions those speakers, and they effectively become virtual speakers where the central point of the audio is your device, and those speakers get split off out, and it gives a very good virtual representation of a surround sound experience. I do like it. I would caveat that switching between that and stereo sound, in some aspects, stereo sound is a little bit more precise. Do we need it? No. Is it nice? Yes. A lot of people complain, why haven't these got a switch? Why haven't these got a switch? And I like a good switch. I'm pro switch as well. But in all honesty, I know why they don't have a switch. It's because Apple don't want that cognitive load, that cognitive interaction with their headphones. So these, because they have accelerometers, you'll notice that if you pop them down, leave them for 5 minutes, pick them up, and you're looking at your iPhone at the same time as you pick them up, the iPhone will splash up a little greeting to say that they've been lifted up and that they have X percentage battery. And if you're not even looking at your iPhone, you stick them on your head and ba-dum, they're connected. So what's this little sleeve? Everyone goes on about it, quite frankly. Get a life. They slide in there, and what do the magnets do? They turn off, and people think they turn off into low power mode. No, in all honesty, all it does is it disconnects Bluetooth. That's what it does. So the Bluetooth signal is not actively connected. However, if you want to ping these from your iPhone from Find My app, it will re-establish a connection and ping them. So there is still some ability. But the fundamental thing here, the difference between power states, ignore it. There isn't really any difference. The difference is a Bluetooth connection is off when they're in there, and when you open it up, they will instantly connect. Why have Apple created this? Why haven't they covered my precious band and soft meshy thing? Well, first of all, they're not expecting you to store this in your toolbox with your chisel and your knives and your sharp implements. So Apple aren't worried about you breaking that, because as long as you don't shove it in something, you know, I don't know, your fencing kit or your whatever. They're not expecting something sharp to go through there, because they're hoping that you put this in your nice soft case with socks and hats and things. And also they want to create a bit of hype around the aftermarket third-party cases. Within 6 months, you're going to have nifty cases, people making weird and wonderful, horrible things that really shouldn't be made, and a couple of things that I'll probably look at and go, oh, actually, I might buy that, because it's leather, and it's brown, and it's got a lanyard. Yes, it looks like a handbag, but if people have got such a problem with their masculinity that they can't walk around with this, then they probably don't need to buy this product. The most important thing, though, is how do they sound and what do they give you in an experiential kind of way. So, I wanted to talk about one of my favourite records, Global Communications 7614. Listening to the first few tracks, especially with these headphones, it's crystal clear. It shines a light onto areas of that album that I've not heard before. It's a very light album, I would say. It doesn't have actually that much bass. So probably, in all honesty, these headphones fit that kind of album really, really well. Again, Apple's EQ might be doing something to it, but when I listen to the same tracks on my PX7s, I would say they come down in gravitas, so it's trying to pull them down to be a more richly flavoured album, which, in all honesty, it's not, especially those first two tracks. Now onto my second favourite album. There we go, Yoshi's Spaces. This album is very good for microdynamics, for little sounds that are placed all over the shop. It has so much movement in it. The AirPods Pro do have a clinical representation of sound. That means, yes, the soundstage is, for all intents and purposes, about the same width, which is quite wide, as the PX7s. However, that soundstage is more of a digital landscape for it to place sound on and for it to move it around. You know, soundstage is not just about width. Sometimes it's the height of the ceiling, or maybe even the lack of an awareness of the ceiling. So with these, I feel like, yes, I have an awareness of a potentially taut plastic bubble type ceiling. Anyway, spaces. It's to its name, it has a lot of space. So check it out for that. And now we are on to Yoshi's Vapor album. The second two tracks on this, Bump. It's got a really strong detail to any bass sound. And I'm not even going to talk about it in a sense of being bassy. It's not. But the sounds in Bump, they're more about feelings than sounds. They're about experiencing little bumps. So the noises that you hear, it feels like someone is drawing across your eardrums with some sort of kitchen implement. If anything, it's like some sort of bumping sound. It's incredible. I'm waxing more lyrical about the album than I am about the headphones, but I really like that track specifically for understanding detail in bass versus power in bass. And these have, again, clinical detail in that bass or that sound experience. These are trying to recreate those sounds in a precise and deliberately placed way. So I'm going to try and rattle through a relatively complicated test. Why am I wearing the AirPods Pro? Because these are the only microphones that I've got that I can stick in my ear that hopefully demonstrate what the AirPods Max do in terms of noise cancellation. I've got the iPad Pro here connected permanently to these, and this is going to be recording. But to give you a reference point of all the sounds that will be recorded in this little segment, fan 1, fan 2, fan 3, take those down. And then the object of this test is, of course, to test these and how these handle transparency mode, off, and noise cancellation. So I cycle that transparency. Yeah, I can hear that. Aggressive isolation, I feel more in a submarine. Kind of not particularly nice feeling. And noise cancellation, it thins it out, so you've got a more hissy sound, less of a reverberating fan sound. But if I had just a single fan on, yeah, it's definitely taking that out. Transparency mode, it's come up in volume a big percentage. What, 60? More than half. There we go. And let's just change it to the intensity. Pump, whatever that is. There we go. Move there. Play pump. And if memory serves me correctly, yeah, we're on noise cancellation as well. So hopefully this will give you an idea of what wearing AirPods Max on top of AirPods Pro sound like in terms of demonstrating their noise cancellation into these. But of course, the caveat is we are using these microphones. So the quality can only be as good as the microphones in these for this test. So, a quick summary of these headphones. They're excellent sounding across low, mid and high ranges. They have excellent build, as I've described. That makes them feel really good quality when you pick them up, and they have a delightful interaction mechanism across the board. But there is one caveat. Regardless of the money that I've attributed to each of these areas, they are predominantly, I would say, for an Apple user. If you have an Apple device, these are what you might want to pick up. But the reality is if you don't have an Apple device, there are plenty of good alternatives that are cheaper. An alternative for non-Apple users would be the PX7s, completely different type of headphone. These, for me, fit the bill because they add value across the board to all the other devices that you have within that little Apple wall garden. So I hope you've enjoyed this video. Take it easy, stay safe, and see you on the interwebs next time.